Hello everyone, welcome to my bold and beautiful Gossip Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Sugar is terrible for everybody, particularly when it's blended in with go-head-to-head deceit and a specific gatecrasher Steffi Ona lived as of late. For what reason is it so hard for the greater part of LDA to pant that things probably won't be basically as dead as they appear with regards to the expert slick person, Carter? Furthermore, R.J. hulkied out on Zen for his disloyalty and Poppy for sedating her own girl. However, isn't Luna a tiny smidgen to fault for her indiscretion? Besides, are seeds of development sprouting for Lope? We should scoop. Since Thomas has gone, and Trust doesn't need to Uber Douglas to every one of his occasions, she can at long last beginning doing what she ought to have done as opposed to bumping Thomas's minds out, handling the finish of her marriage. She fiddled with it a little with Liam last week, and at the gamble of returning her mother's standing at the focal point of her activities, Trust conceded that she had been hoping to stroll on the wild side when her affections for Thomas took a turn for the genuine. Trust speculated Liam would have rather not heard it, yet I'm certain he didn't. Rather than hearing how she had an outlook on Thomas and his one-womanness, Liam presumably would have liked to catch wind of Trust and her inability to be a limited lady during their marriage. Indeed, one could counter that Liam wasn't one lady himself. Nonetheless, Liam controlled his sentiments. Isn't that exactly the same thing Trust told her mom she could do about hers for Thomas? While wedded to Liam, Trust thought it was adequate for him assuming that she stifled her affections for Thomas, so for what reason wasn't it sufficient for Trust when Liam effectively smothered his for Steffi? Meh. Trust will most likely sort it out after more processing. Sign the AOL repetitive sound. Until further notice, Trust has reordered her needs and put her children before herself, her profession, and sex drive. That is development. Liam has done some spirit looking, as well, and he found that he needed to quit figuring he didn't have a character except if he was seeing someone. Really great for him for having mindfulness, notwithstanding, if he needs to figure out who he is beyond connections, it doesn't check out that he could cover himself in his father character, right? Since being a father is distinguishing himself through a relationship with his children, correct? Signal the AOL background noise. The seeds of development for Trust and Liam as people have been planted. I circumspectly consider this the finish of Liam's offered for Steffi, as it ought to be since she couldn't return his texts, and Trust has relinquished Thomas. Their ways appear to be reset for what's in store. However much I despised it, I delighted in seeing Lope collaborating, kidding, acting couple, and intellectually in a state of harmony. Do I need them back together? For hell's sake, no. And you? Deacons nuke sugar enslavement. Minister's been drinking. Furthermore, drinking. Furthermore, drinking some more. He has had such a huge amount to drink of late that I began to address assuming the alcohol had made him see 10 toes. However, at that point he dug into Sheila's instant messages, uncovering that he wasn't put or insane, and somebody named Sugar may be engaged with the toe secret. Minister trusted in Finn run and tell Steffi of Finnegan, however Finn accepted it was a misery-prompted mental trip. Elder inquired as to whether portion of Finn maintained that Sheila should be alive, and Finn made the most significant and most neglected explanation of the week. It doesn't make any difference how I feel. Finn passed Minister's inquiry and Finn's reaction on to both Steffi and Trust, neither of whom inquired, okay, yet what do you feel? You wish she was alive or not? All things considered, Finn? Isn't that right? Steffi was more worried about her obligation to defy Elder than how her significant other had an outlook on Minister's doubts. I don't have the foggiest idea where Steffi gets off thinking she must be the confronter of the world. She plainly has not taken in her example about pulling butt to Il Giardino to face individuals. Whenever she first got it done, she and Finn had chance. The second time she made it happen, she and Sheila cleaned the floor and table with one another, and somebody passed on. Yet there she goes, off to defy in the eatery of pandemonium since she would rather not catch wind of it. To catch wind of Sheila, my recommendation is to quit conversing with Elder, quit requesting his meatballs, and quit going down to his cafe to let him know what to think, feel, or do. What business is it of theirs assuming that Elder goes crazy with despondency? What? Do his tears make the pizza less oily or something like that? In the meantime, for what reason is it so difficult to accept that old Ninetoes could have gotten away from death by and by? This lady should have consumed in a fire, still alive. She leaped off a structure in a wedding gown, still alive. She was assumed dead in a bear's digestive organs, still alive. She flatlined on Finn's trauma center table, still alive. Furthermore, that is simply in LA. So for what reason do Edge, Steffi, Finn, and Lauren carry on like Minister is insane with his hypothesis and fail to remember how to count? I'm gobsmacked that such countless individuals shut Elder down so hard about this. They continue to let him know that Sheila was recognized at the funeral home. Indeed, perhaps the funeral home can't count since they ought to have reported an oddity like 9 toes on a carcass. They demand that the police have examined. These are a similar police who considered her dead in the wake of strolling around with her toe in their pocket for quite a long time. What toe-hauling numbskulls would they say they are? It's great that Elder didn't let Edge, Steffi, or Lauren threaten him into quiet. His faithfulness drove him to examine Lauren regarding sugar. Lastly, he found the solution the world required. Sheila has an independent doppelganger with resentment and 10 toes. Or on the other hand, will I say had this doppelganger? Since, except if Sugar has been assuming the part of Sheila since before the toe cleaving, it was Sugar in that cremator, not Sheila. Much obliged to you, Lauren, for assisting Minister with settling the secret. I need to concede, however, from the get-go, I wished you'd bounce back on your broomstick and quit pestering Minister, yet you followed through eventually and made your presence worth the endure. It's no happenstance that both Annika Noel and Scott Clifton are named for Emmys in their separate classes. All things considered, the scenes in which their striking and delightful modify self-images finished their marriage were a significant defining moment for the two characters. The force of those scenes, she let us know not long after figuring out she'd been designated, lies in the functioning relationship she and Clifton have created throughout recent years. We have such a lot of confidence in one another as entertainers and as individuals that we can truly permit each other to go to those sort of hazier, harder spots, she uncovered. Having that sort of confidence in your scene accomplice permits you to know that they will deal with you in the scene. Liam trusts Thomas B&B. It assists that they with offering a common regard that would be useful. I just totally revere him, she raved. He's a particularly astonishing entertainer, an expert and an old buddy, as well. More, why Scott Clifton nearly didn't submit himself. At the point when it came time to pick which scenes to submit, Noelle maintained that her reel should recount a story. I needed to show the development of Trust Logan, she shared. Going from her disavowal about her affections for Thomas and saying that she'd be nothing similar to her mom, then, at that point, slicing to Liam defying trust about her disloyalty and Brooke getting her and Thomas in bed together. Eventually, she sort of makes her mark and tracks down her own solidarity, basically challenging Liam's blustering and saying, "You need a separation? Here is your separation." As such, I truly needed to show her development from a young lady into a lady. Look at one of the remarkable scenes in the clasp underneath.